Sir, what are the possible options now in terms of what could happen next? Because Ms. Moitra has also taken a legal recourse of defamation in the court. So that's running in parallel to all of this. There is an allegation that the BJP is making that scores of questions have been asked on the insistence of a rival corporate businessman. Since then, you have Mr. Hirandandani turning approver in the case and acknowledging on record that indeed she used his help for framing of several questions. She herself has not denied that her login password was shared, but she says this is fairly routine. All members of parliament do it. How do you see this response from her and the revelations since then, including Darshan Hiranandani turning approver and acknowledging that he has helped her occasionally, or we don't know specifically how many times, with the framing of questions? She says it was using a stenographer, almost like using a stenographer in his office for clerical help.
A member of parliament can engage anyone in a work in parliament. Anyone can be engaged to help the member of parliament, particularly for framing questions and so on. And the member of parliament is also free to get information from any source, and that is something which is personal to the member, and nobody has any right to pry into that and ask the member, where did you get this information from, and so on. It is entirely for the member to use any kind of source for information. After all, members of parliament, are getting information from various sources for framing questions. And
but the furor is over sharing the password and the login that is now the BJP says has been accessed from Dubai.
Yes, I'm coming to that. Actually, in the beginning, the main issue was that she was writing questions and getting money from someone. That was the question. That means cash for query. That was the main allegation. And so far as that allegation is concerned, I said then it is not this ethics committee which will go into this, because getting money or taking money from someone for putting questions or doing other parliamentary work, is a case of corruption, bribery, and which is a serious case of breach of privilege of the House. So in that case, it is actually the Privileges Committee which has to look into it. So far as that allegation is concerned. But now it's the question of sharing the login details and password and all that with somebody else. Now, so far as that issue is concerned, I must make it very clear that the Lok Sabha rules are silent. Whether the member can share it with somebody or not, that area is not actually covered by rules. That means they have not made rules. Earlier, the practice was for the member to sign on a printed form where the question will be written, and the member has to sign it. That means it is his question, it's nobody else's. And then it will be submitted there, and then the question will be processed and all that, because they look at the signature and see that it is the member's signature. They verify it and they find it okay, and then they go ahead and process the questions. That used to be the practice earlier. But after this online submission, etc., has started, then naturally some rule should have been put in place to regulate this kind of a
So is it a gray area? Is it a gray area?
Gray area. Now the question is, members of parliament normally engage another person to do this parliamentary work. Most of the members, they can't be sitting down and writing questions. They have no time, in fact. This is the practical necessity, in fact. Members engage other people. But here in this particular, I'm not making any comment on this particular case where she has engaged a businessman or things like that. But the point is, a member of parliament can engage anybody, whether it is a businessman or whether it is an ordinary person or anyone. That is it. That is something which
But
a member has to
with
consider.
but with the difference that here the businessman is seen to be a rival to the other business leader about whom she was raising questions. So ethically speaking, even if the Lok Sabha rules are silent, the allegation is that there's a conflict of interest. Do you believe that prima facie there is a conflict of interest?
Well, the question is examined by the Lok Sabha Secretariat in terms of the rules which are laid down in the rule book.
Hmm.
That is, so there, the most important requirement of a question is whether it deals with a public issue, because a member of parliament is supposed to promote public interest, matters of public interest, not a private
Right.
interest. So the question is whether this question contains public interest, matter of public interest. That is the first test.
In terms of the allegation that it was called cash for query, Ms. Moitra has denied receiving any cash. She has conceded that as a friend, Mr. Hiranandani did give her gifts, and she seemed to walk into Parliament today carrying some of those gifts to show before the committee. What is the ambit of the Ethics Committee, or do you believe after the walking out, the Ethics Committee is now redundant in this matter?
The Ethics Committee was set up actually to look into the for example, the moral vagaries of the members, little unethical conduct. For example, one member had taken his mistress on a tour, on an official tour, personating her as his wife.
Right.
And so a complaint was made. Then the committee, this ethics committee went into it and found him guilty. And then he was given some punishment. He was suspended for some days and all that kind of thing. So what I mean to say is that the ethics committee's remit is this, and they deal with such issues. Now, if it is a question or if it's a case of breach of privilege, then the ethics committee cannot deal with that. So that will have to be dealt with the privileges committee, because privilege is something which is there in the which is provided for in the constitution, which is a right which has been given by the constitution.
So in many ways, you're saying that the ambit of this issue, this is outside the ambit of the Ethics Committee.
No, Ethics Committee has to take a view on this issue. I'm not making any judgment. I'm not.
Right.
I can't say what the committee will do. The committee has to take a position on this. What I am saying, all that I'm saying is that so far as engaging another person for doing parliamentary work is concerned, the Lok Sabha rules which deal with questions and all that are silent on this. So when the rule is silent,
let me ask you finally. You said the matter will now have to be determined by the Lok Sabha Speaker. What will the Lok Sabha Speaker have to decide at this point, given the breakdown within the committee?
Well, I can't, of course, I can't say what the Speaker is going to do, but I can say that the Speaker, since Speaker has the responsibility to see that all the committees function as per the rules, then Speaker can give suitable directions to the chairman to conduct the meetings according to the rules and conventions and all that.
All right. I think this is only the beginning. We don't know this issue could also go to other committees. Isn't that correct, sir? The Speaker could choose to send this to the Privileges Committee even now?
No. See, someone has to move a privilege motion.
Right. But I'm saying that could happen. Yes, but I'm saying that could happen.
That can happen. That can happen.
Right.
Then it can go to the Privileges Committee. There's no problem.
All right, Mr. Achary.